Welcome to Join Our Town. My name is Terry Bates. I'm the pastor of Faith Church here in Oklahoma City, and we're delighted that you've joined us for today's broadcast. We're excited about our guest today because it's another opportunity for us to share with you, our viewers, what's happening in the Oklahoma City area in ways of compassion ministry and life-changing ministries that are literally impacting our city in a positive way. And today we have with us Deborah Burke, who's the pastor of Inner City Church here in Oklahoma City and also the executive director for the Oklahoma City Dream Center, and Chase Parsons, who is also connected to the Dream Center and works in the external outreach relations. And they're going to tell us a little bit about ministries that they're connected to and offering to our Oklahoma City area. So Deborah, Chase, it's great to have you with us today.
Thank you.
Well, let's kind of just start from the beginning and tell us how it is that you became the pastor here of Inner City Church in Oklahoma City.
Okay, my husband and I were youth pastors for many years, and in 2002, Inner City Church at that point became open. It's a home missions church with the Assemblies of God, and we were asked to come and take that ministry over. At that time, it was just a children's ministry doing Super Saturdays, and we came and just continued that ministry for, about a year. And coming into a year, we decided, we're pumping these kids full of candy, we're telling them about Jesus, and we're doing all this stuff with the kids, but then we're busing them back home and they're going back to the same situation that we picked them up from. So we started adult services in 2003 on Father's Day. And our whole goal around that was to bring the family together, the absentee fathers, try to, really come along and support the family. We had a family dinner after every Sunday morning service, and we continued that. And as we grew, we saw needs for a food pantry because the funds weren't just getting the people through the whole month. And so we started a very small food pantry, a clothing closet, and started taking donations for that. And in 2005, we were outgrowing the building we were on Southwest 22nd. And Grace Assembly of God had purchased property in more south of Oklahoma City, and they approached us and said, would you consider selling us, or would you consider buying our property? And it had appraised for well over $1 million, and they approached us and said, for $225,000, we'll sell it to you because we believe in this neighborhood. We know there needs to be a church here. And, that's really an incredible deal, but we're home missions,
Right.
And we didn't have a savings account. We didn't have the money. And David Green with Hobby Lobby stepped up and he said, I believe in your ministry. I will purchase it, and then gave it to us. So that was in 2005. In November of 2006, my husband started having headaches, and they kept getting worse. And the day before Thanksgiving, we were delivering food baskets to different families with turkeys and stuff. And he was brought to his knees in pain. So we took him to the emergency room. They admitted him from that point and did surgery the day after Thanksgiving. He had a glioblastoma, stage 4 brain tumor, and he never left the hospital. 9 days later, he passed away. And when my in-laws and I went home to tell my children, I had a 7 and a 5-year-old at the time, that Daddy had went to be with Jesus. My oldest one stood up and he said, but Mama, what about the people of Inner City? Who's going to take care of them? And at that point, I'm thinking, that's not my main concern right now. We've just lost our husband, right. My husband and your daddy. But over the next few weeks and even the month, I started thinking, what about? And God just told me, I called both of you. You are one. And I'm not done with you there. So I went back with the Assemblies of God and asked the superintendent, I really feel like God's telling me to stay here. And so I got licensed, and then 2 years later I was ordained. So I became the pastor pretty much, it was a transition right there really quick. And in 2008, I believe, we moved into the Grace facility, and everything has been growing. Our food pantry has grown, the clothing closet, the church body itself has grown. And about 3 years ago, which he can tell more about the Dream Center, but they had started the Dream Center, and it was one of those. It was an incredible marriage. So we could focus at the church. We could focus all of our. It could be on building strong families, discipling, because without discipleship we're losing them. So discipling, and the Dream Center could take over all the outreach, the food pantry, and the clothing closet, our mentoring program, and then expand. And since that in the past 3 years, it has exploded with what God's doing.
It's incredible. Well, as Inner City Church has been obviously a very critical hub in that area, meeting the natural needs, and we'll talk a little bit more about the Dream Center and some of the food pantry items, but you also have another unique outreach, which is involving a wrestling program.
Yes.
So tell us a little about that as well.
The Warriors Wrestling Program was started about 5 years ago, and it was started because you have all these young boys roaming the streets that, the gangs are right there wanting to recruit them into their gangs and things. And we needed something for boys to do. So we started the Warriors Wrestling Program, and it's boys 12 and under. I think there's a few that might be older. And we have incredible men, volunteer coaches that come in Tuesday and Thursday and coach these boys. And then they go to tournaments. In fact, last week they were at state in Tulsa, and we had one take first place. We had one take third. And so it's just been incredible.
That's awesome. So as the ministry's progressed, obviously it's finding new opportunities all the time. But really, in addition to discipling the family, you have a real focus to at-risk kids in the neighborhood. So the wrestling program is one way. Are there some other ways that you guys are connecting to the at-risk kids? Absolutely.
We have a Mentoring Monday, which is a one-on-one program where kids come in, and these mentors are volunteer-based, and we're always needing more mentors. We have a waiting list of kids needing to be matched up with an adult. And it's very powerful because these kids, they know that mentor is there because they want to be. They're not being paid to be there. They're not being paid to be a counselor. They're not being, that they truly value that child enough that they want to be there and spend an hour and a half just reading, reading with them, help them with homework, playing a board game. That's a very powerful thing. Our goal is to have a mentor start with them and stay all the way up through, even as far as we've had mentors that will go to parent-teacher conferences with the family. So it's also pulling in the family and building relationships with that. We also, last summer, we kind of groundbreaking for us, we did a summer feeding program. Kids have free lunches at school, but when they're not in school, suddenly mom and dad don't get more money. So these kids were coming to our programs, whether it be mentoring or our Wednesday night service, and they were starving, they were hungry. And, when a kid will take the nastiest granola bar and just eat one after another, they're hungry. And so last summer we did a summer feeding program, and anyone 18 and under could come in and eat lunch. It was a well-balanced lunch. And then we also did an enrichment activity or day camps with that. So we, whether it be sports or the arts or dance or whatever, we just really wanting to connect with the kids because otherwise they're just roaming the streets.
And along the way here, and I know we're going to talk a little bit more in depthly about the Dream Center, but Chase, during this time, you've been connected to the Oklahoma City Dream Center, and you guys became connected how?
Well, I had grown up in church for, it was like 31 years, and toward the end of that, God really was just kind of helping me see what more the church could do instead of, like, I grew up loving overseas missions, going on missions trips, being a part of, like, every time the church doors were open, being a part of not just attending, but like serving in some capacity and working my way up into servant leadership positions and different things, and even full-time ministry in different positions, and I just started going, God, there's got to be more, and there were certain things that I was seeing, and then one night, actually, we had Pastor Matthew Barnett come on a Sunday night service and really just give his testimony of how the LA Dream Center came about, and it just clicked like that, and it just hit me, and God was saying, this is what's inside of you that basically I've been opening your eyes to, and I started asking. I was like, so is there one in Oklahoma City? And if not, and there's a city rescue mission. There's tons of like great organizations, but yet there's always room for another one to come up and serve in an area where it's not getting directly impacted. And so I set off on that mission to figure out how to start it. Had no idea like what I was doing, and I left my full-time position at the church at that point after 31 years of being there since I was born, and I connected with Matthew on a Twitter message, crazy, and he responded, and we got connected, and we flew out there and basically went through the process of getting connected with them and getting affiliated with them, and then we came back, did the paperwork with the state, and got officially the Dream Center organization officially up and going, and then we were. I was really with my two other co-founders. I was just praying that God would lead us to the area that He wanted to start, and it was one of those that it was kind of blind faith, and then through the connections of actually one of the co-founders that actually had served with Deb and Rob through the years, we basically started officing out of there, and by just doing in like an adopt-a-block, a really small adopt-a-block type of ministry, and just while we were in that very beginning process, I got connected with what was going on at Inner City and the church and the services there and everything, and the more that Deb and I spent with each other, we just really God kind of really married us together as far as our vision and our hearts for what we wanted to see done in the city. And then in 2014, we decided to basically, for the benefit of the church and the Dream Center, we would basically take just all outreach ministries and programs and put those under the Dream Center, which is meant to basically let the church and hope go out to the people, and then get them connected to the hope that's inside the church. And so all the church ministries would stay under Inner City, and then all outreach programs would be under the Dream Center, and God's just blessed it since then. So it's been crazy.
It's incredible, because we know that churches are filled with people that really don't fulfill their potential until they discover a ministry, an outlet for themselves. So in giving and serving, it creates a new dimension for those people who are already part of the Dream Center, Inner City. And then also for those that are making their transitions to say, well, what's next? How do I get integrated back into maybe a more normal lifestyle when I'm breaking addictions or other life-controlling issues? So the marriage of ministry is very, very powerful, and so we think it's great. We're going to come back in just a few minutes and talk a little bit more about the Dream Center, the Adopt-a-Block program, the Christmas programs and things that you do. But I just want to just say thank you for, at this point, having a vision to impact lives in a very incredible way in our city. So you're watching Joy in Our Town. My name is Terry Bates. I'm the pastor of Faith Church. We'll be back in just a few more moments to talk more about the Oklahoma City Dream Center and Inner City Assembly of God Church here in Oklahoma City.